Okay, welcome everyone. This is Jonty. Today is November 13th. We changed our time zones in the United States. So this caused some scheduling problems with people outside the United States. And as a result, we have some people who are not joining us today, not able to join us today. I wanted to start off in this class. I have a few of you guys. Open up all your microphones, please, because I want to have a conversation. So when I first started these lessons, we started with the Circassian alphabet, not teaching you the alphabet, but using the alphabet. And then I saw very quickly that a lot of people were confused and overwhelmed. And so I started to bring the transliterations into the class. Give me a second. More people are joining, so I'm going to repeat myself. I want everyone to hear. So when we first started these classes, it was all written in the official Circassian alphabet. And then I think that a lot of people were overwhelmed, and it was scary, it was confusing. So then I started to introduce transliteration, and we're about 10, 12 hours into the class so far. And I think people like the conversational aspect. They like, TPRS, it's like magic because it gets you to think in the language. You're not memorizing, you're actually building neural connections in your brain. But in the group chat and in the breakout rooms, when I drop out there, I still see that a lot of you are using the transliterations, and the transliterations, they become problematic because, for example, in one of our stories, we had the difference between "su'a" and "shu'a," right? So spelling that using transliteration is problematic, right? We also have versus versus right? There's three different types of k sounds that we have. We have sh, right? We have we have t, we have f, we have all these different sounds. So as I'm thinking about the next, round of classes, I'm thinking very seriously that what I need to do is run everybody through a very quick reading boot camp, so that we can just use the Circassian alphabet. Part of that is because it's just the right thing to do. Part of that is because, quite honestly, the transliterations, it adds a lot of complexity to building the materials. It takes up room on the page. It's not something I can get anybody to help me with, because all the native speakers don't think all the native speakers of Circassian don't think in the letters the way that I think of the letters and stuff like that. So I'm the only person that can do it. And when we go through today's lesson, you'll see the way that I've redesigned our 3.0 TPRS materials. One story now requires almost 100 slides. So that's a lot of work for me, one person, to do. So what are people's thoughts about learning the alphabet? I know people have had, fears, concerns, whatever. I just want to hear what your guys' thoughts and opinions are about the alphabet.
I think it would be good for everyone to know. I'm familiar with it, but I think it would be good if everyone knew it.
It'd probably be important after we learn how to speak it conversationally, because eventually we would need to, well, I think I would need to start reading it so we could absorb more vocabulary.
But how can you learn, how can you take notes or read the basic building blocks of conversation without having the alphabet? Without knowing the alphabet, you have either zero ability or a severely limited ability to take proper notes.
Yeah, we can't, obviously, if we don't know it.
Now, the concern that I have is the approach that I take to this class and the approach that I take to everything that I do, I think of this as I'm building a product, and that product has to be fun, exciting, It has to solve a problem. It has to move the needle. It has to make your life better. It has to be something that you want to consume, right? So for that reason, you know, I want the class to be fun and engaging and all those other things I just described. I think a lot of other people in the past, the way that they start Circassian is let's spend a month on the alphabet, you know, and then it's let's memorize these old phrases and words that nobody even says anymore. And that puts people it turns people off. And I know all of us, myself included, all of us have had classes like that. So I've been reluctant to start with the alphabet for that reason. But what I'm toying, let me put it this way. What I'm toying with is taking 1 or 2 classes and taking a break from the conversational stuff and focusing, there still will be conversation, but focusing on more of the reading aspects of it so that when we start next year, because the way this class is designed, we'll end in December. We'll take a 2 or 3 week break between the end of December and the beginning of January. And then we'll start a new class in January, and that'll probably run until May or June. So one option would be we keep doing what we're doing now and we don't make any changes. The other option is we take a couple of classes to really focus on not learning the alphabet. I want to be clear. This is not, let's spend 5 minutes on this letter, this letter, this letter. It would be, let's learn high frequency vocabulary that's based around the alphabet. So for example, right, the letter A, ad, an, right? We learn those words. The letter B, I don't know, or the letter V, vaca, right? You're learning shoe. So you're learning high frequency words as opposed to let's learn 20 words that you're never going to use that just use this letter. And then what I want to do is start to put those things together. So for example, mercianos. There's 3 words there that are very high frequency. That phrase is very high frequency, but each word in that phrase is only 2 or 3 letters long. Mercianos, right? That's my approach to teaching the alphabet. So we're learning the alphabet, but we're learning it through these high frequency words and through these high frequency phrases. And then merciados, it's just 1 letter different. And then we can learn other things like mercedes, right? So what are people's thoughts? Again, one option, we just keep doing what we're doing. The other option is we take a little bit of a detour to learn these high frequency words and phrases so that we can read the alphabet, so that when we start back up again in January, we can go back into these TPRS slides, but we can just use the Circassian alphabet, no transliteration.
I wanted to say something. I saw something on social media. There's this other language learning platform. It's for Arabic, and basically there's 200 words that you need to know. If you know these 200 words, you could read the whole Quran. So I'm thinking, like, through data analytics, like, what are the top 200 words that you can use and you can speak, you know, conversationally with Circassian? I think maybe if we learn how to read those words, I feel like that would help us, because then we'll be able to piece together words in a sentence that we're reading and know what they're talking about. I mean, that's just an idea. I was just
no,
thinking
that's my method. That's exactly my method. So what you're talking about is there's a statistical concept called Zipf's law, ZIPF, Zipf's law. And this is basically, we're not all native English speakers, but many of us have heard this 80-20 rule, right? 80% of something is only 20% of something else. 80% of the money of a company comes from 20% of its customers. 80% of the profit of a company comes from 20% of its products. So it's a similar concept within languages. So most languages have somewhere between 50 to 100,000 words. It depends on what you consider a word. Boy, boys, is that 1 word? Is it 2 words? Right? Something like that. So most languages have between 50 to 100,000 words. A lot of research has shown across multiple languages, if you know 2,000 words, you know about 90 to 95% of all the words of that language, right? Once you get up to 2,500, 3,500, somewhere in that ballpark, I would say as a good rule of thumb, if you're at 2,500 words, you know about 95% of the words that are used in an everyday situations. 50 words cover 50% of most spoken languages. 50 words, okay? Once you go up to 100 words, you're at about 65%. So Zipf's law basically says that every time you double the amount of words you know, you half the number of percent you go, right? So in other words, you want to get to 95% of all words spoken, it's 2,500 words. You want to go to 96%, it's 5,000 words. You want to go to 97%, it's 10,000 words, right? So you have to double the amount of words you know to get one more incremental movement in that percentage. So the approach that I have with the alphabet, I have those words. I've done all that statistical research. Well, I've guessed at what they are because no one's ever done what's called a corpus study on Circassian. But I have taken corpus studies on English, on Arabic, on Turkish, and on Russian, and I've used translations of those words to guess what the words would be in Circassian, right? So that's part of the method. That's part of the method. I'm focusing on only those words. So by the end of this little reading boot camp, you'll have a vocabulary of 200 or 300 words, and you'll know about, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 phrases.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned some like the top 50 words. I think it was a video or something you posted on Facebook like a long time ago, and I thought that would be the most useful thing. I mean, it's what I did in China. Where's the train? Where is? So I would know where is, and I would just have to remember different words, and then I could get around the entire country with just that. So, I think for the alphabet, you already have the videos available. I learned how to read because of that. And then what we're doing here is like the ultimate practice I get. When I was in Russia and our homeland at Kafkas, that was the best practice for me because I would see all the letters that I learned from your YouTube videos. So I think people could just, if they really want to learn, this class is 90 minutes long. Take another hour to watch the YouTube videos and learn the letters. That's it. It's not difficult.
Yes, right.
Here, this could be for learning to speak. If you want to learn the letters, take the time to watch his videos. He made them already.
Yeah, no, that's true. But that's also like saying there's people who can work out on their own, and there's people who need a class, a coach, a gym, that accountability to show up on a regular basis.
Yeah, I get you. That's true too.
John DiLara, I know you've had comments with me. I don't want to force you to say something you don't want to say, but I know you have opinions on this. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Hi, I trust you, John D.
Okay.
So in my case, it's kind of different from the other students.
Your audio stopped. I guess she really doesn't want to share her opinion.
John T, I think it's important to learn the words written in Circassian, I mean in Cyrillic alphabet. Okay. Because I have experience with Greek language. 20 years ago, I started to learn Greek for professional reasons. So I went to Athens, University of Athens, to attend some courses for Greek. We have two Marias, teachers. Both of them had PhD on linguistic, and they know many foreign languages. But from the very beginning, they started to teach us the words in Greek alphabet. They never explained the meanings of the words. They knew the meanings. They taught us the meanings through drama. I mean, they played
Yep,
you
yep.
know.
I'm familiar with that method.
Uh-huh,
That is the ancestor
uh-huh.
of this method that we're using
Yes,
here.
yes, like TPRS method.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
I think it's important to learn the words written in Cyrillic alphabet,
Okay.
not transliteration or something else.
Okay.
Mhm. It's my opinion.
Jean Dilara, Qibla Ghaj. No. Okay.
And do
Let's
you hear me now?
we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, I connected with the phone now. Okay, I wanted to say that in my case, it's a little bit different from the case the other students have, I think. Now I can hear me double.
Hang on. Yep.
I wanted to say that because I think I know already many words already, I think, but my thing is that I have to practice speaking, so I have to use the words I already know. So I have a lot in my head, but I don't practice that much. And that's my thing. So it was very helpful for me in this class to have the breakout rooms where I could speak with the people and different people. And that's also a good practice to speak with people who are at different levels. So sometimes I have to ask something. Sometimes they are asking me, and we are speaking in different levels, and that was also good. So I'm really looking forward for the practicing of somebody wanted to open a practicing hours. Yeah, maybe that will be helpful for me, but I also think for the students here who don't know that many words, it will be really helpful to learn the words who are used the most in the language. So that could be a good basic to start with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for your feedback. Well, trust me to do the right thing. At the end of class, I'll give some more updates, but now let's jump into the class. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys what I'm calling, can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not too small, it's not too big?
No.
Yes.
Okay, good. So today we're going to be sharing what I call our TPRS 3.0 materials, okay? So first, I'm going to give you a preview, all right? I'm going to tell you the entire story. We're not going to reach the entire story in today's class, but I'm going to tell you the entire story, okay? So I just want everybody listening. Okay, so this is the story. There's a girl named Sabina, and she's on a plane. She's flying to homeland. There's a boy on the plane, and she speaks to that boy. She asks that boy, do you speak English? That boy says no. This girl says, my name is Sabina. What is your name? The boy says, my name is Osman. Sabina says, I'm staying with my family. Actually, sorry, I'm going to my family. And then Osman says, I'm going to my friends. Okay. Very straightforward story. Any issues? Make sense? Okay. So now I'm going to read you the entire story in Circassian. All right. There's no English here. Sabina, hang on. This is where I need to clean up something. Give me a second. Okay. So Sabina Sabinas Sabina quahlatim yis. Ar shakum maslata. Ar shakum maslata. Ar shalem yopsasha. Ar shalem yopsasha. Wa yinjilibzitcha wopsalafra. Hawa. Hawa. Sitzar Sabinas. Chetwa Witzar. Sitzar Wasmans.
From the dynasty.
From the dynasty. Actually, Wasman is my son's name,
Yes,
and
I
Sabina
know.
is my daughter's name. So this is where I took the names. Sasi Blarchem Yadej Sokwa. Sasi Nabzokum Yadej Hasapa Sokwa. Okay, so I'm sorry, there's some sounds outside my window. So that's the preview of the story. And now we're going to go, that's the end of the preview. We're going to go into the story. Okay, so class,
Sit.
Merchajebs.
Ooh.
Merchajebs.
Mhm.
Chajebzim Yitzar Sabinas.
Ooh.
Chajebzim Yitzar Sabinas. Sabina Quahlatim Yis.
Ooh.
Sabina Quahlatim Yis. Class,
Sit.
Sit.
Sabina Shala.
Hawa.
Hawa. Sabina
Hijabs.
Shalakam.
Mm.
Sabina Shalakam. Class,
Sit.
Sit.
Jera. Class,
Sit.
Sit.
Ah. Sabina Chajebs.
Sabina Khajabs.
Sabina Chajebs. Sabina Chajebs. Haj. Class,
Sit.
Sabina Shala. Hama Chajebs.
Sabina Hijabs.
Sabina Chajebs. Ah. Class,
Sit.
Sit.
Chajebzim Yitzar Sit.
Sabina.
Sabina.
Chajebzim Yitzar Sabina. Dago Diddash. Sabina Mashinim Yis.
Hawa.
Hawa. Sabina
Quahlatim Yis.
Sabina Quahlatim Yis. Haj. Mashina Sit Mahanar.
Car.
Car. Mashina car. Class,
Sit.
Sit.
Sabina Mafogum Yis.
Hawa.
Hawa.
Sabina
Sabina Mafogum Yisqam.
Yisqam. Mm.
Mafogor Sit Mahanar.
Train.
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 Mafagum. Mm.
So this is the TPRS 3.0 materials.
Mhm.
There's no English.
Mhm.
There's no English, but we use pictures, right? So again, what I'm trying to do is take away all of this English stuff to get you to think in this language more and more.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to make you guess. I'm going to explain, right? So if anything's unclear, I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to keep using my method of vocabulary. Okay, so mafog. Mafog means train.
Train. Mm.
Jonty, what
guess?
means maffe? Maffe?
Keep going. Keep going.
So go means heart, or we also say go for car. So what's maffe?
Mafia fire.
Yes. So gu has two meanings. One is heart, and completely unrelated, cart, like an ox cart or a horse cart, like a piece of wood with wheels that you attach to a horse or that you attach to a cow that they can transport something. Gu, cart. Mafa is fire.
Mhm.
Is fire. So think when trains were first invented, it was a cart. It was a cart. In fact, in Old English, a train was all the cars that would go behind an ox or a cow. Okay. And they were powered with coal, with fire. Right. So mafog is a fire cart train.
Good.
Make sense?
And kuchlaten makes also sense. I think kuch means ship, what? Boat, right? And
Quashlata, yes.
Klaten means flying, I think.
Yes.
Fly.
So quashlata, Flugzeug.
Yeah, right.
Just like Flugzeug, yeah.
Yeah.
So yes. So mafog is fire cart train. Okay. So
Okay, thank you.
Sabina mafogum yis.
Awa.
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 Sabina.
Sabina quahlatam is.
Quashlatam yis.
Quashlatam.
Sabina quashlatam yis.
Ta.
Sabina
Sabina.
quashlatam
Quashlatam.
yis.
Yes.
Okay. So again, the reason so this is the 3.0 materials. Now, what we've done here is I've taken all the questions that we have to ask you, and I've put them on the screen. And by doing this, it's a lot more work because in the old TPRS materials, this would be 2 or 3 slides. Right now, we're up to slide number 14. But the reason I do this is the question form of verbs in Circassian can be very different than the answer form, right? So by showing you what I'm saying, I take that, I explain more. And my goal is to train other teachers in this method. When I first started this was like being an actor. I had to think, what questions do I ask? How do I do this? So now all the questions are on the page. It's easier for the student. It's easier for the teacher, right? So, class, Sabina machina, hama, washata, zirisr.
Sabina Zeris.
Sabina quahlate zerish.
Sabina zirisr, washatas.
Quashlatas.
Okay.
Sabina zirisr,
quahlatas.
washatas.
Okay.
So this is, I'm going to pause now for a moment. In the 1.0 materials, we simplified the language. In doing so, we didn't teach you anything wrong, but we taught you things that would sound a little strange to a native speaker. So in these materials, we're teaching you exactly how a native speaker would speak, but we're going to practice it a lot more. And one of the things that I've seen with you guys is that complexity is okay as long as we practice and explain and practice and explain and practice and explain. Okay. So that's the approach we're taking. Now, let me give you a little grammar. Why is it that we say Sabina machina, hama quahlata zerisr? Okay. Whenever you put zer in front of a verb, it means how is it being done? How is it being done? Westman, what my son, when he wakes up, Westman, what da was rjea? How did you sleep? He comes home from school. Westman, we mahwa da was rjea. How did your day go? Okay. How do I say that? So when we put zer in front of a verb, it means how it's done. And much of the time, when we're asking a question, we put zer in front of the verb. Okay. So because here we made a statement, Sabina quahlatim yish. There's no question. I'm introducing new information. Okay. But now I'm asking you a question. So same as how I say how. Notice in this word, in this whole sentence, what's the word for how? Dawa, right? Dawa. I'm asking you something like, how is she flying? Is she flying in this thing or is she flying in that thing? There is a question word, which, hama, but there's no other question word. This zere, it creates that question word. And then because go ahead, please.
Doesn't it mean alone?
No.
Or herself?
No. So there's another word you're thinking of, which is zriz. So listen, this is why the alphabet is so important. This here is z, r. What you're thinking about is z, r, z, r. It's this letter 2 times. Zr, zriz, zriz, one by one on their own. Okay.
So why did you put there a comic with Serena alone in a box?
Because she is, because she's the only, it's not that she's alone. I'm just talking about Sabina. And
Okay.
the verb here is yisin. Yisin means to be inside something
Mhm.
that does not have a roof.
Okay.
Now, I know what you're thinking. An airplane has a roof. Okay. Well, think about when airplanes were invented. It had an open, imagine those old biplanes. It had the 2 wings on top. You would sit into the airplane. There was no roof on the airplane. You'd have the goggles and you would sit into the airplane. So that's the verb they used back then. They continue to use that verb today. That might sound confusing, but think about how we say in English, get on the airplane. You don't get on the airplane, you get inside the airplane.
Mhm.
So all languages have weird things about prepositions and verbs and things like that.
Mhm.
But the verb here is yisin, yisin, and it's to be in something that is closed on 3 sides, but not closed on the top.
So Yisin and Zerisser is
Same
the
verb.
same. Okay.
Same verb, same verb.
Okay, so-
Zerisser is how is she in it? Yis is she is in it.
Mhm.
Anytime you see zerre in front of a verb, it means how. So
Zenisser is the question form of yish, right?
no, it is a question form.
A question form.
It is
okay.
a question form. Okay, so
Mhm.
again, the example, let's say we all know the word to say. Jis'an, 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 to say. If I say, how do I say this word? Mabsatler, dawa, zere jis'anu.
Hmm.
Mabsatler, dawa, zere jis'anur. How do I say this word? If I say, how did your day go? My son comes home from school every day. My daughter comes home from school every day. Okay. Khun means to exist. Khwa means it happened. Right. So I say to my children, Fimahur dawa zere khwa. How did your day go? Mapsatler dawa zere jis'anu. Wimahur dawa zere khwa. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So listen, with these concepts, give it time, it'll set in. It's okay to be a little confused. There's a difference between understanding the logic and being able to use it in everyday speech. As long as you understand the logic, I promise you, using it in everyday speech will come naturally over time.
I
Okay.
have one question
Please.
again. Would you also use this word Zerisser when you have more than one person?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Yes. This has no connection to singular or plural. Completely separate concept. So again, I want to make sure it's a very good question. And I want to make sure, whoops, why is this? I want to make sure that I'm answering this. So, okay, Zerisser, to be, how are you in it? Right? How are you in it? So the word that I think, Jean Dilara, you are thinking of is, whoops, Zeriz, one, by yourself, one by one, right? And what it is z is one. And then you see the second part here, riz, it's the same as this, ris. It's the same root, okay? But the beginning is z. Okay, there's a lot of words in Circassian that are like this, where you have to be careful. I'm going to teach you one more thing, and I'm curious. I'm going to teach you another concept, and then I want you guys to tell me, is this helpful or is it confusing? Okay, so let me teach you the concept. Who can read this first word for me?
Zigwar.
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 Zigwar. Who can read this second word for me?
Zigwar.
Zagwar. Zagwar. This first word means someone. Someone, something. Because remember, in Circassian, ar, he, she, it, it could be a person, it could be an animal, it could be an object, right? So same thing. Someone, something. Zgwar. Okay. Does anybody know what the second word means? Once. Once. And here's why. Okay. Some of you may have heard, I forget if it's a Monday class, a Wednesday class, or a Saturday class. Every language has a word for thingamajig, whatchamacallit, right? We all have words like, what's that thingamajig, that whatchamacallit? In Circassian, it's mistgwar, right? So sometimes like, right? Gwar, it means like something. It's by itself, it's an undefined thing. We don't know what it is. Gwar, okay? So zgwar is someone. You don't know who it is, right? Zgwar wunam shahash. Someone came into the house. Siyana zgwar mapsasha. My mother is speaking to someone. We don't know who it is, okay? If you're in a rush, right, and you want to slow down, all right, who's heard this? Z. Give me a minute, right? Z shows time. It's different than Z. Z shows undefined thing. Z shows undefined time, right? Z. Hang on, Z, right?
Zidaqiqa.
Zidaqiqa, right? That's actually, no, that's zidaqiqa. That's this one.
Zidaqiqa, okay.
Yeah. So zagwar is once. Okay. So you can play with them. Zagwar zagwaram sepsafat. Once I was speaking to someone. Is this confusing or interesting?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Okay. So I'll do more of these. Okay.
You're playing with the words in a good manner. Okay.
It's fun.
In a fun way. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. Okay. Class.
Yes.
Sabina Quathata Hamamafog Zerisser.
Sabina
Sabina Zerisser Quathatas. And what does Quathata mean?
Airplane.
Flying boat. Airplane.
Flying boat.
Yeah. Flugzeug. All right. Class. Quathatam Yisr.
Sabina Quathatan Yish.
Sabina Quathatam Yisr. Class. Sabina Dana is the Sha'ar.
Sabina Quathatan.
Quathatam. Sabina Quathatam Yisr.
Yes.
Okay. So this is another example. In earlier classes, we taught you very, very simplified speech. Sha'a, then a sha'a, then a sha'a. If I'm asking you, right, and I want to be proper about it, I'm going to say, Dana Sabina is the sha'ar. This is the sha'ar. It's a question form of this. Okay. So Albert, I see the look on your face. You were in the Wednesday class. So remember, as a child, maybe your father, maybe your mother, somebody would have said, Dana was dakwar.
Yeah, everybody said that. Yeah.
So whenever we're asking, and this is typically with a verb that is, there's movement in it. Okay. Is the. Dana was dakwar. Dana was the sha'ar. Right? Is the. It means there's movement taking place, or, you know, there's a location or a movement. Okay. And this is just how we say it. Then the Sabina is the sha'ar, right? So in past classes, I would have asked you, "Dana was sha'a." This is okay. There's nothing wrong with this, but it's a little bit nicer, a little bit more refined. Dana was the sha'r. Dana was the sha'r.
Where have you been?
Where? Dana was the sha'a. Where have you
Ah,
been?
okay.
Then it was the sha'a. Okay. Okay. Class.
Sit.
Sit Sabina Zrisser.
Quadratum.
Qatam. Sabina
Sabina
Qathatim Yis. Uh-huh. Okay. So, oops. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second here. This is an issue. I designed these slides in PowerPoint and then I upload them into Google. And then we have these little issues. Give me 1 second here, guys.
Jonty, getting back to this a little bit, des is in something that's completely enclosed?
In the middle, I think. Yes.
No, des is, so how do I say it? It's a big open area that has no borders around it and no roof around it.
Like
So-
village.
Village. Sapajim se des.
Oh, yeah. We covered that a while back. Okay, that's right.
Give me a second here. Text. There we go. Okay, so now we've gone through these first 2 lines of the dialogue. So again, TPRS 3.0 materials. We went through 2 or 3 lines, and then we've gone through all the questions to get you thinking. Now, okay, I'm going to go and start talking to each one of you guys. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to use all the information on the page to give me an answer. We're going to have a very simple dialogue. We're going to start with Dimaza. Dimaza, thou shit.
I am tired.
Adigabzicha.
I don't know.
Okay, khunch. Mr. Sasa Shala, Hamasasa Khajabs.
Where we jealous?
Sasa Shalash. Sabina Shala, Hama Khajabs.
Sabiner Khgebs.
Sabina Khajabs. Washa, Wawa Khajabs. Hama, Wawa Shala.
Sesi Khgebs.
Wawa Khajabs. Wawa Khajabs. You can say both. Khajabs, Khajabs. Both are correct. Okay. Sits are sit.
Where we are jantish.
Khajabzim yitzar sit.
Khgebzim yishar Sabinash.
Khajabzim yitzar sabinash. Washa sit witzar.
Sesitar dimazash.
Wa witzar dimazash. Dimaza. Wa mashinam wis.
Hawa.
Hawa. Wa mafalgam wis.
Hawa.
Sabina. Mkhajabzir. Ar khwahlatim yis.
Nute ar kohlatam yish.
Dawgadidda. You just had a full conversation in Circassian. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay.
Thank you.
Delha.
Sit.
Daoshit.
Hazınız. Vada.
Harzanis wapso. Harzanis wapso. Wa yijibstu machina muis.
Hava.
Hawa. Wa yijibstu mafogum wis. Mafog. Mis mafog.
Hava.
Hawa. Wa mafog wisqam. Hawa.
Viskum. Se. Mafak. Viskum.
Wisqam khonsta. Sabina. Dena Sabina.
Sabina. Kohlatem. Yish.
Sabina qathlatim yis. Haj. Sabina shala.
Hava.
Sabina.
Khajabs.
Sabina Khajabs. Sabina robot Hama khajabs.
Sabina khajabs.
Sabina khajabs. Sasa khajabs.
Hawa.
Sasit.
Sasi wa jalish.
Wasasa shalash. What was ala?
Ta. Sasi jalish.
What was shalash? What was shala? Hama robat.
Sasi jalish.
What was shalash? What was shalash? Sits are sit. Sits are.
Wawi jantish.
Sasitsar jantish. Paj. Khajabzim yitsar sit.
Jabs yitser sabinash.
Khajabzim yitsar sabinash. Khajabzim yitsar.
Jabzim yitser.
Witsar sit.
Sasi yitser talhash.
Talhash. Wupso tala. Albert.
Hey, Jackie.
ودنا والشقة.
New Jersey is a shot.
New Jersey والشقاش.
Mhm.
Sabina دنا الشقة.
Sabina Forslaten, yes.
Sabina قوثلاتم يس. Sorry. قوثلاتم سيس.
Oh, we want to,
سش.
yeah.
انت سما فوقم سيس.
Oh, مفهوم ويس.
حوا و مشينا مويس.
Oh, she wanted to, yes.
ودس وشش. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I thought you
Khajabs-
said this. I thought you said earlier, you said this, open area, no borders, no roof.
Yes. So us because you're in your house.
That's what I said. You corrected me. You
Oh,
said,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
oh,
Chess is under the roof of the
Yes,
house.
Chess is under the roof.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. If you were in your yard, you could say sesipshantum sedes. Sipshantum sedes. Okay. Khajabzim yitzar sit.
but Joseph Yitzhak Sabinas.
Khajabzim yitzar sabinas. Sasitzar sit.
Well, Witzar Jantish.
Wo witzar sit.
Sasitsar Albert.
Wo were robot.
Oh, so robot and what were robots?
Sasa robot. Sasa khajabs. Sasa khajabs.
Oh, Khajabs and
Hawa. Sabina sha. Sabina robot.
oh, Khajabs.
Ar khajabs. Ar khajabs.
Okay.
Ar khajabs. Wupso Albert. Yemiz.
Sit.
Dawshit.
Kharzinesh. Hura dawshit janti.
Risa kharzinas. What was in Shaga wi'a? What COVID wi'a? Hama.
So wasn't Shara Siash.
Then was Sha'a.
Egypt stew si Winnam. Siash.
Was us. Sabina dana Sha'a.
Sabina Qoshat Yes.
Sabina qathatim yes. Sabina mafogum yes.
Hawa Sabina Mafagwam Yisqam.
Wa machinam wis.
Hawa Machinam Yisqam.
Sisqam.
Sisqam. Ta.
Sa qathatim sis.
Anta.
Qathatim sis.
Hawa. بس بالغلط جانتي وونم
Shas.
شاش يجري
Shas. Okay, I'll spell this. I think some people are having some difficulty. So text box. Shas.
شاش
Shas. Okay. All right. Sits are sit.
جانتيش
Wits are sit.
يمزش
Khajabzim yits are sit.
سابينش
Sabinas. Wupso. Satanai hubrak.
Set.
Mo adre Satanai the Diagusakam Noba. The other Satanai is not with us today. So but I'm trained to use your last name. Dawshit.
الحمد لله وبست الحمد لله ودا وشت
سخرزنش وبسو ويديشتا ماخوا حمجش
جش
جش ودنا وشقة
سدوحة الشش
ودوها وشقش سابينا دنا شقة
سابينا فخلاتن يش
سابينا قحلاتم يش سري ما فوقم سيس
حوا ووي مفوقم يس
وي.
يس أقم
يسقم
لا
okay
ويق ما بعرف
so I asked sama fogum sis and the answer is hawa wa mafogum wisqum, right? So over here we can say sa sis wa wis ar yis, right? Okay.
so
You have a question?
ومفوقم ويس أقم
Wisqum. Dagwa. Bravo. Khajabzam yitzar sit.
سبينش
Sasits arsit.
وويس أرجنتيش
Wawits arsit.
ستنش
Sasits ar satanesh.
ساسيس ستنش
Aha. Satane. What robot?
حوا ساتي جبس
Sasa robot hamara shala.
ووي بوث ووي
Uri.
روبوت
Uri. Sabina robot hama khajabz.
سابينا خجبس
Sabina Khajabs. Whoops. So all of you are doing wonderful. Nilgun.
Sit.
Daoshit.
Harzinash. Harzina didash.
Arzina did this. Wow. When I'm in Nalchik, sometimes I joke, I say, Kharashoishwa.
Great.
Kharashoishwa. Yeah.
Great.
What dana washa?
Se unam
Wunam was
again.
See, I highlight it on the screen here on the slide. Wunam was us.
Shesh.
Se
Se unam shesh.
Sish.
Sishes.
Wanoba Universitetem washa.
Nita. Nita.
Inta sa Nova Universitetem
Universitetem. Sishash.
Egyptsto dana Sabinas is the Sha'ar.
Sabina Kohlatan Yish.
Sabina Kohlatem Yish. Sama Fogum Sis.
Hawa.
Just tell me I'm not.
Where we mefegum wiskum.
Bravo. Wa mafogum wiskum. Sits are sit.
Wawitzer jantish.
Khajabzim yits are sit.
Hujebzim yitzar sabinash.
Qaji ajit witzer. So if I say qaji ajit, it means tell me again. Tell me again. Okay, so I'm going to start using more for qaji ajit. Tell me again. Qaji ajit witzer.
Hujebzim yitzar sabinash.
Qaji ajit witzer.
Oh, pardon. Sitzer. Se sitzer nilgunch.
Wapson yilgun. Siguapas. Alia.
Siguapas.
Tit.
Daoshit.
Tamam shupso. What daoshit?
سريسة تمامش وبسو ودنا وشقة
سونم سشأ
وانا مش قص
أنت سونم سشش
وي وينر دنز دشقر
سيونا فيلنوس تشأ
دنز دشقة نيويورك مسكو ريما يوردان دنز دشقة وي وينر
فيلنوس تشأ
قجي أجد
فيلنوس
فينوس
فيلنوس
فيلنوس
أنت
أرست قد قرال
ليتوانيا
إتفانيا حلمتش ودنا وقش الخوا
س نلشج
ناشج وقش الخوا
how do I say
You were born in Nalchik, yes?
Yeah.
Sa Nalchik سقش الخواش
سنلشج it's difficult
It's okay. سق
سق
شلخواش
الشخواش
شلخواش.
شلخواش
Yeah. So I'll spell it for you. Ты говоришь по-русски? So you can read Cyrillic.
yes okay
Знаешь русский язык.
أنت
Браво.
سقش الخواش. عاتشا. قجي أجت ويتسر ست.
سيتسر ألياش
مخجبزم يتسر ست.
مخجبزم يتسر سبينش
سابينش. Yeah. سابينا دنز دشقر.
سبينا خلاتم استشاء
يس.
يش
سابينا قلاتم يس. وري مشينم ويس.
هوا
ويسقم.
سيسقم
دغوش سجسمة ويسقم جزوء وجبمة سيسقم جبوء هج سيتس أرست
ويتسر جانتش
سيتس أرجانتيش خجابزم يتس أرست
خجبزم يتسر سبينش
قجي أجت ويتسر
سيتسر سيتسر ألياش
حم يغب سؤالية
so
جان دي لارا سميرة تعرف الشتكة
This, ja, this heißt das. What that was it?
Zarissa Kharzinush was in Shagasi Ash. When my friends from homeland ask me, what the hell for shitka? How are you guys doing? Sasa Kharzinush was in Shagasi Ash. Aksha Doxasi Jipum Yitch. Shakosasi Anam Tich. Sasa Wanagos. Sidnagosh is Ruhir. So I say, I'm doing great. I have health. I have a little bit of money in my pocket. I have bread on my table. I have a family. What else do I need?
Yes.
What else do I need? Acha. فدنا في الشقة.
What? Nee, der won sich
The us.
the shush.
Aha. في winner دنس the الشقة.
Germanium
شقش. ست خود قالة.
Kirchheim Galem. Stuttgart Galem.
Stuttgart قالم. خنش. مخجبزر دنس الشقة.
Mir Jepsam Kuchlatem Jus.
بج خجبزر قتلاتم يس. Aha. Sabina مشينم يس.
Haue Sabine Maschinem Maschinem Yischkem.
يسقم مشينم. انت خجبزم يتسر ست.
Хджепсам Yitzer Sabinish.
خجبزم يتسر سابينش. ويتسر ست.
Se Yitzer Semirash.
ويتسر سميرش. ويشبخم يتسر ست.
Se Shupchum Yitzer Jandilaras.
وبصو سميرة. جانديلارا.
Se
ويشبخم يتسر ست.
Shupchum Yitzer Semirash.
ساسيتسر ست.
Wawitzer Shantish.
خجبزم يتسر ست.
Hджепсam Yitzer Sabinash.
دنا سابينا.
Sabina Kuchlatem Yish.
سابينا قثاتم يسش. سابينا مفوقم يس.
How Sabina Sit Mafakum Yiskum.
مفوقم يسقم. باج. وبصو. حمزة.
ست
داوشت.
خازنش وشا داوشت
سريسة خرزنش. ولا غروخوا.
انت
No, باجوي we نقل نغرش.
داورس جس انوس
ديتم وتيس.
ست
Are you on a diet?
انت كيتو دايت
Keto diet. عرب سنش. عرب سنش أزرخور. Yeah. Well, what?
باش
وانا غرو خواش بوشاو زانتوي أو وزن شاغب تيتش. You still look healthy. وزن شاغب تيتش. عطشة. دانا وشاء.
سري ونم سي ونم شخص
we winnem شاش. We winner دانا the شقر.
سي ونم رياض شاش
خونشتا. سابينا دانا شقة.
سبينا قحلاتم يسش
سري قلاتم سيس.
حوا وري وي ونم ويس
Now tell me I'm not in the airplane.
not in the airplane وري قحلاتم يسقم
ويسقم.
ويسقم
سيسقم. سيتس أرست.
ويتسر جانتيش
ويتس أرست.
ساري سيتسر حمزش
وهو الروبات.
حوا ساسير رباطقم
وست.
ساري سشالش
خونشتا. خجابزم ست. سابينا ست.
سبينا خجبش
Pej. Okay. One minor note, you were saying sari. This is okay. It means me too. I also. So it's okay to say this, but it's a little not so common, right? So for example, if I say to you, if you say sari sashalash, you're saying I am also a boy. So if I first said I am a boy, it would be very logical for you to say I am also a boy. It's not incorrect, but it's a little strange if you're the first person speaking and you say I am also a boy, because who are you also a boy with? Right? So you were saying sari, which is not incorrect, but it's a little strange in some cases. Okay.
So
all right, we're going to go on and we're going to go into breakout rooms. All right. And let me stop the share. Let's see. There are 15 of us. I am going to open 5 breakout rooms and I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes. Now, what I want you to do, you're always going to be 2 people speaking and a third person listening. Okay. Can you share the site address? Yes, I'm going to share this, the slides here. Give me a second. Okay, so these are the slides, and I'm going to let all of you guys share your screen. You guys are going to go to slide 21.
John T, please use the one where I'm with Cyrillic alphabet. So the one with the video is not working with the microphone. So I'm
You know-
using the laptop for the video.
Yeah.
and
So,
the-
okay,
and
thank
the
you.
tele-
What I will do
My
when I
friend.
open the room, I'll force both of yous. There's two
Yes,
of you.
that would
Yeah,
be
I'll do
great.
that. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the link. Go to slide 21. What I want you to do, two people are going to be doing this. There's an A person and a B person. The A person is going to be asking questions. I want you to ask questions. The B person is going to answer, and the third person listens. And then you switch and you switch and you switch. Okay. Now let me show you. Somebody said before, it's better if I model the behavior. So I will model the behavior. I'm going to share my screen again to do this properly. Okay. So it's a very simple way to ask the questions. We have all of these great question screens, question words at the top of the screen. Chet, sit, dena. Those are the major ones we've used so far. These other ones, I don't know. It's not easy for me to think, how would we use these in this dialogue, in this story, okay? So if I'm the A person, I'll use Yamiz, okay? So I'm A and Yamiz is B. So I'm going to ask Yamiz a bunch of questions. Yamiz.
Good.
What was Shala?
انت سسألش
What was robot?
حوا سروباتك
Wits are sit.
سسيتس يمزش
Sits are sit.
وويتس جانتيش
Khajabzim yits are sit.
خجبزم يتسر سابينش
Sabinash.
سابينش
Sa mafogum sis.
سا ونم
Sa mafogum sis.
ونم إيش أش
If you're confused, you can just say yiskum. You can say yiskum.
Yis
Yiskum. All right. Don't worry about using verbs you're not familiar with yet. Okay. Wa mafogum wis.
حوا سا ونم يس
Such us.
أش
Sabina kwachatim yis.
أنت سابينا قشاتم يسش
So what I did there, everyone, I just went through these three little tables and I just thought of a question I could ask, right? I just went through, am I a boy or a girl? Are you a robot or a boy? Is Sabina a robot, right? You can just go through these and then what's my name? What's your name? What's the girl's name? Khajabzim yitzar sit. And then here, sa mashinam. And remember, the word is mashina, but if you're in it, you have to say mashinam, mashinam. Okay. So sa mashinam sis, wa mafogam wis, Sabina kwachatim yis. So I'm just going through one by one, asking questions. So Yamiz, now please ask me one question, just to model the behavior. So now it's Yamiz's turn to ask me questions.
ويتس سسش على حما روبات
What was Alice?
ست ويتس أر
Sits Argentish.
سا ماشينم يس
Hawa.
ماشينا يس
Hawa. Wa mashinam wisqam. Okay. So that's a simple, just run through 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the goal here is to get you what we've done a lot of is you're answering questions from me. Now I want you asking each other questions. Clear? Okay. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to open the rooms and you guys will have 10 minutes and I'll make sure if you see like only one Jean Dilara in your room, wait, because there's either another one coming or she's going to disappear. So breakout rooms, we'll do 5. Oh, let me pause the recording.
But then at school we had to speak several languages. So I had to figure out as child to speak German, Turkish, and Circassian. And that was too much. And I mixed everything together. And then my parents decided just to Turkish and German.
Mhm.
And because of that, I think I have a basic. I understand not everything, but a lot. Because my parents speak every time with each other, but they don't speak with us. So I need to practice.
Mm.
Yes. But once I was in Nalchik with my family, and there I was forced to speak because I wanted to buy food, for example. And there I recognized that when I struggle and I try really hard, the people can understand me. So I started to practice myself a lot, but there were not much material or no courses at all. And during this epidemic, we had the chance to attend several courses. So that's, I think, our 4th or 5th course in 1.5 hour, 1.5 year or so. So that helps a lot.
Okay. But
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your story. Kirill, Eblaga.
Hello, it's my first time here. Thank you very much. And
Where are you from, brother?
I'm from Moscow, and now I'm in Sochi. So I'm
Oh, Sochi, Abkhazia.
And I cannot find a teacher in Sochi. I'm glad that I think I want to live in this region, so I want to study this language, and I hope I will make some progress.
Hopefully. Are you Circassian, or are you just interested in the language?
Yes, I'm interested in the language.
Okay. I have right now 4 students who are not Circassian, but interested in the language. So welcome. And we hope that we can help you to learn this language.
Thank you very much.
So let's do a little, the formal class is over. So if anybody, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. If anybody needs to leave, you can leave. No. But I want to get people's feedback. These are the 3.0 materials, right? So as you can see, every question is on the screen. There's no English on the screen. We use pictures. And what we do is we go through the first part of the story. We go through all the questions. And then I go through each one of you, asking you, and you get to practice with me. And then we do the breakout rooms. How do people think about this class, these materials, this session? What do we like this? Do we not like this? What are people's feelings?
We like it. We like it
very
also. Much. Thank you very much.
Okay. So it's helpful to have everything on the screen.
Yes, sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. For now, I'm going to ask a couple of questions. These classes are going to go until the middle of December. And then we're going to stop, take a little break. And then in January, we'll come back. What I'm thinking is we need more time. More time equals more results. What I see from everybody, most of my students, they speak some Circassian, but they're not confident. They are worried about making mistakes, all these things. And part of the challenge for that is Circassian is not like English or Russian. It's a little bit like Turkish, because we take a word and we make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. Sha'an is the sha'ar, yisin, zirisr, right? So we play with these words. I heard a couple of people like, zopsatha, mupsatha, yipsatha, gapsat, like there's a lot like psathan, right? Zopsatha, they are speaking. Zopsatha, we are speaking. Yopsatha, he is speaking to him. Mupsatha, he is speaking, right? There's all these different ways that the verbs can be used. And you all know some of this, but you're confused, you're worried, you're concerned about saying the wrong thing. So did you ever, we've all seen this. You have a big stack of papers like here. I'll give you an example. We have, for example, we have all these papers, right? And they're not straight. So what do? We go like this, right? We go like this, and then we see, look, the line is perfect, right? This is how the language is. Right now, all of us, our language is a little bit like this, and we need to go like this. Yeah. So that's what these classes are, and that's what the breakout rooms are. By seeing all the information on the screen that is correctly spelled for you with all the correct grammar, you can construct your own grammatically correct statements.
Mhm.
But the challenge is that, you know, what we're doing is the right thing. We're going slowly so everybody can absorb this information. From class to class, everybody remembers what we covered because we spend so much time on it, right? Everyone, it's been what, 3 weeks? 3 weeks ago, but we all remember that. It's been 3 weeks ago, right? But we remember these things because it's now part of the wiring in our brain. So what I'm trying to figure out is, how do I give you more hours? It's quality and quantity. We need more hours, but those hours need to be quality hours, right? If you don't have enough time, you're not going to make progress. But if the quality of that time is low, you will also not make progress. So what I'm thinking to do in the next semester, in the next class, what I want to do is in the next class that we have here, I'm going to focus more on reading, but we're still going to learn phrases. We're still going to learn words and phrases, all those things that we talked about. But what I want is to make sure that everybody feels very comfortable with the alphabet, so that in January, when we start again, we can take away one more. All these things, you think they help you, but really they hurt you. The English translation, it's easy in the beginning, but over time it's bad because you're looking at the English, not at the Edigabza. The transliteration, it helps you in the beginning, but over time it's bad. It hurts you from using the real alphabet. So we need to clean up and take away all of these things that slow you down. They speed you up in the beginning, but they slow you down later. So that's something I'm going to work on.
Great. You're totally right. Yeah.
But the other thing is, I need to think of how I can give you guys more time, right? So what I'm thinking to do in the next series of classes, I'm thinking to do 2 times a week.
Oh, great.
For 90 minutes each time. It would be around this time. So what I will do, because I live in the United States, it would start 1/2 hour ago, and it would go until 1 hour later than now. I can make this work in my job here in the United States, maybe on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So my question for people here, if we start 1/2 hour ago and we end 1 hour from now, will this work?
On Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
In the afternoon?
Yeah. Yeah.
It will be great for me.
So both Tuesday and Tuesday, or
Tuesday and
just one
Thursday.
of-
Or is it too much?
Tuesday will not work for me, but maybe the other one.
Tuesdays works for me, but Thursdays, I'm afraid it's tough.
Okay.
I think it would work for me.
Yeah, we will try. So
Yeah.
maybe we cannot attend everything, but the most of the
Okay.
people can attend maybe.
Okay. Like I said, I'm trying to think through, how do I give you more time? Right. So that's one way to do it. The other thing is, I'm trying to think, is there some way I can find for each of you a speaking partner? I don't know. Like, each of you need more time. In a perfect world, each of you would have an hour 2 or 3 times a week with me. or someone who's trained in this method. You know, think about it. In this 90-minute class, each of you maybe speaks for 10 minutes because there's 10 of you, and that's 100 minutes. You know, so if there's more focus on you, you have more of a chance to speak, you know. So that's something I'm thinking about. I don't have an answer for that yet, but we'll see where things go. Okay. Questions, comments? Anybody have any questions about language, culture, history, grammar, vocabulary?
Janti,
Yes.
the new days will start next week.
Say again.
You say the new days.
No.
Class.
No.
Next
Right now,
next week?
we're going to keep this schedule until middle of December.
Okay.
No changes until middle. Officially, these classes end on December 18th.
2023.
2023. No. They end on Saturday, December 18th, and then I'll think of what we will do next in January.
Thank you.
All right. I mean, I'm here if anybody, you guys can leave, but if you have questions about vocabulary, grammar, speech, phrases, I'm here to answer any questions anybody has.
I have a question.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get to that slide. 21. Okay. If you're in a car, it's going to be covered all around. That wouldn't be shuss.
It's like, you know, like I said, the first airplanes didn't have a roof. The first cars didn't have a roof either. You would sit into the car.
Okay.
If you really want me to blow your mind, right? How do you say get into the car? Do you know how to say that?
Hold on, what do you think about that one? Nope, go ahead. Oh yeah.
Sit into the car.
Yeah.
Sit into the car. Yeah. In Russian, there's verbs of motion, which are somewhat complicated for people who are learning Russian. In Circassian, there's verbs of location. Circassian does not have prepositions. Circassian has no prepositions. Circassian has about a dozen postpositions, which are prepositions that come after a word. But as a result of that, we use verbs to show the location of all action and the location of all existence. And then we use a whole bunch of prefixes to show it as well. So you'll just develop an ear for it over time.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I think I have a question which does not really relate. It's just out of curiosity. To your knowledge, since you know a few languages, is Circassian similar to any other language? Like, I know it's not, but for example, if you're Arabic speaker or if you're a Turkish speaker, would it be a little bit easier to learn Circassian or not really? Just to your knowledge.
Not really. So Circassian, there's a lot of different ways to classify languages. One is whether the languages are isolates or related. Circassian is a language isolate. The only other related spoken language in existence today would be Abkhaz. And Circassian and Abkhaz share the same grammatical structure, but the languages, you can't, if you speak one, you cannot understand the other.
Yeah.
Also, Abkhazian has grammatical gender, just like Russian does, or Spanish or Arabic. Circassian does not have grammatical gender. The other way, there's many ways of thinking about languages. The other way of thinking about languages is whether, I forget the word for this, there's a gradation. In English, I forget the linguistic term for this, but one word is one word is one word, right? I go, she goes, he goes. In the middle of the spectrum is an agglutinative language. So German is a little bit of an agglutinative language, right? Turkish is a well-documented agglutinative language. We glue the words together. Circassian is called a polysynthetic language. What that means is that we glue words together in a very complicated way using lots of different phonemes, so word parts, with not a lot of vowels. So as a result of this, if I were to say, can you help me? Or if I say, you know, could you help me? That's written as one word. The verb is the apukun. The verb is the apukun, to help. The apukofano para. Could you help me? It's written as one word. It's got a lot of different pieces of sounds in it and not a lot of vowels. There's not a lot of spoken languages that share that characteristic. The ones that do tend to be like that are not big world languages, as far as I'm aware. The other thing is that Circassian is also an ergative language. So what that means is that the way that Circassian treats direct objects and indirect objects as a function of verb conjugation is the exact opposite of the way that non-ergative languages do it. Non-ergative languages are about 80 to 90% of all known human spoken languages. Ergative languages are about 10 or 15% of known human spoken languages, and that makes some complications. If I were to guess, I would say maybe if you spoke Georgian, it might be easier to learn Circassian because Georgian is also an ergative language. I don't know if it's polysynthetic off the top of my head, but I do know it's ergative. Hungarian is ergative. I believe Finnish is also ergative. So my guess is that ergative languages would make it a little bit easier to learn Circassian, but not by much.
That's very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But not helpful.
You asked the question.
Jonty,
Yes.
what difference is there between abu and r? Abu Yitzer, I mean, we say Abu Yitzer Sabinish.
Yeah.
Why not r Yitzer Sabinish?
So the way to think about it, this is somewhat related to the ergative nature of Circassian, okay? And the best way for me to make it a simple answer is, in English, it's kind of like the difference between he and him, right? So he has a book. I give him the book. We would never say him has the book. And we would never say, I give he the book. So ar and ab or abum, you would never say abur. That's ar, right? That's the best way I can explain it.
Okay, thank you very much. Now it's crystal.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
So it would be Abu Yitzhak.
Abu Yitzhar, Abu Yitzhar, whatever. Abu Yitzhar Alberts, Abu Yitzhar Jantish. But ar Abu Yitzhar Alberts. Het ar Alberts. Sit Abu Yitzhar Alberts.
Great.
Questions? Grammar, vocabulary?
I just wanted to say thank you, Jonty, for your Optilingo app. I'm really often practicing with it, and it helps me a lot to learn new words and expressions.
I'm glad. I think every one of you should use the Optilingo app. And so it's free. It's free for Circassian. So you can ignore, let me shut off. I don't want people to think I'm advertising. I'm going to shut off the